welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time watching one of my videos. Today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to crochet from a graph. This is kind of a prep video for my Brontosaurus t-shirt pattern that's coming out this week, and then I also have the T-Rex t-shirt pattern that's going to come out at the end of April. So depending on when you're watching this, these patterns might be out already or they might not quite be ready yet, but either way, you can practice your graph crocheting. For any updates on my pattern releases and just to check out more of what I do, you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok, and then you can also check out my Etsy and my newly designed website, which I'm super excited about. And I feel like this is as good a time as any to give my little spiel on Etsy raising their fees. In April, Etsy is raising their sales fee, and so I have raised my prices on there, but because I don't want to put the burden of their sales fees onto you guys, my patterns are always available for $2 less on my website. So please go check those out and let me know what you think of the video. So for this graph, I'm going to be using this navy blue color as the background, and then this lighter blue color as the letters. And just so I can demonstrate a technique for you, I'm going to use one different ball for each of the letters, and I'll show you how I prepare the yarn for that. So you're going to take a little piece of cardboard and take one end of your yarn that is the accent color or the color of the design, and you're just going to prepare a little yarn on there. This technique is called a bobbin, and the cardboard is just kind of a way to keep the yarn around something as you're working. And once I have some yarn ready, I'm just going to cut the tail, and now I have two separate skeins to work with. So I thought I recorded a clip of myself saying this, but now that I'm editing, I cannot find it for the life of me, so I'm just gonna do a voiceover. But basically, you're just going to chain one more than the graph so that you have a turning chain. So my graph is 18 stitches wide, and I'm going to chain 19. Depending on the pattern, each square might be equal to a single crochet, a half double crochet, or a double crochet. In this case, I'm going to use half double crochets. I find that they're the most square of all of the stitches, and so the easiest to line up ratio-wise to a picture. So I'm going to make a half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. And as you can see on this graph that I've drawn, before we start the letters, there's 3 blank rows, and these are all going to be just plain half double crochet rows across in this darker blue color. Alright, I finished my 3 rows of just plain half double crochets, and I just marked off the rows as I finished them. So now for the 4th row, if we imagine this work as an equivalent of this graph, we're going to half double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4 in this dark blue, and then 2 in the lighter blue, 2 in the dark blue, 2 in the lighter blue. So you're going to read it across this way. You could also read it across this way. If the pattern specifies, then you have to follow a certain direction. I usually just go from right to left. So my very first row is the right side. You'll see what I mean a little bit more later on. So I've already chained 1 as my turning chain. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4th half double crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull through, but don't finish the stitch. This is when you're going to grab your new color, and I like to attach the new color with a slip knot just because I am really worried about things unraveling, and this makes me feel a little more comfortable. So you're going to finish this half double crochet with your slip knot in the new color. Pull it through and tighten it a little bit on your hook. And then just for even more security, I flip it over to the wrong side. So this would be like the back of the work. And then with that little tail of the new color and the working yarn, I just tie a double knot. So now you have switched over to your new color, and you can see we're going to make 2 half double crochets in the new color. So I'm going to half double crochet going over the tail of the other color for 1 stitch. I pull that kind of tight, and then on my second stitch, same thing, we have to switch back to this color. So then you're going to grab your other color, and this time it's easy because it's already attached, and then you pull through. Going back to the graph, we have 2 dark blue stitches, and like I said before, I'm going to show you a technique where you don't have to carry the color from this letter over to this letter, so we're not going to crochet over the tail of this color. The reason why I do this is just because it's cleaner on this side. For something so close, I probably would carry it, but this is especially useful for if you have like light blue stitches here, and you don't want to carry the light blue tail all the way across to the other side. So I'm going to make 1 dark blue and then another and attach the new color. So this is my other skein, my other little yarn cake. And I'm going to do the same thing where I tie a slip knot, finish the stitch with the slip knot, pull it tight, and then turn to the wrong side and double knot this tail. And then here we are, I have 2 light blue stitches, and I'm going to crochet over the other yarn, carrying it under. So I just did these 2 stitches, then we have 2 more dark blue. And for this, I'm actually not going to carry this light blue under the first stitch. This just makes for a nice clean color transition on this side, but I will carry it under the second stitch. And then change colors again. And I'm going to do these last 2 light blue stitches. And change back to the dark blue. And you can see that I have 4 stitches left on my row and 4 stitches left on my graph. Now that I finished the 4th row, I'm going to mark it off, and then I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky because you have to kind of reverse the graph in your head. So on the first row on the right side, we're working across this way, but now on the wrong side, we're going to be working across this way. There's a couple ways to think of it. You can reverse the graph and kind of count, or you can just see where the other stitches are and line up your next row stitches on top of those. That's what I usually do. So I know for the H, I want this to be going up in a straight line. So I'm going to start off with my 4 dark blue stitches. And I know I have to change colors when I get to the new color. Or alternatively, I could be count 4 navy blue and then 2 light blue. Either way, I did my 4 stitches and I'm going to change to the light blue for 2. And this time I'm not going to carry the navy blue under the first stitch, but I will carry it under the second. And then change colors again, back to navy blue for 2 stitches, right here. Not carrying under the first stitch, and then carrying under the second stitch. And then change colors. So now we're at this point. I'm going to not carry under the first stitch and carry under the second stitch. And now this light blue, this is all reserved for the H. So we're gonna keep that over here and continue on with just the navy blue for these 2 stitches. And then change color again. Don't carry the navy blue under the first stitch, and then carry it under the second stitch. And something that I haven't explicitly mentioned, but I have been doing, is make sure that your yarn tails, once you're finished working with the yarn, always end up on the wrong side. And if you're doing the color change method that I showed, the wrong side is really easy to tell because you have these kind of tied tails, or you can just tell because it's the reverse of the image that you're making. So now I'm going to finish the row. And chain 1 and turn my work. So we just did the 5th row, so I'm going to mark that off. I'll just cross it off with a line so it's easier to see where our next row is. I'll demonstrate another 2 rows slowly, but you pretty much just continue on like this for the entire rest of your project. If you're following a pattern, there should be instructions that help you with any specifics, like if you should be increasing or decreasing as you go along on the sides of the graph, or if you're just making a square, then it's nice and easy. So for the next row, which is row 6, we're going to start off with our same 4 navy blue stitches. On the 4th one, changing to the new color. Don't carry the tail on the first stitch and carry it on the second. And then change colors. In terms of carrying under and not carrying under, I tend to do kind of every other stitch or every like 3 stitches if there's a big gap in between the color changes. But I tend to not carry it under the first one. I find that this just makes the cleanest color change. But we're not carrying this one here because this is our separate bobbin for the eye. Then we're going to change, and you'll see on this row, instead of having 2 navy blues in the middle, you will go all the way across with the light blue. So this will be a perfect chance to show you what I'm talking about with carrying the yarn. So don't carry the dark blue under the first stitch. And I'm actually not going to carry it under the second stitch either. But then I will carry it under the third. This just kind of works out because this is on a navy blue stitch underneath it, so it'll blend in even better. So as you can see, there's no dark blue kind of peeking through. Then I'm not going to carry it under the next stitch. I'm not going to carry it under the second stitch, but I will carry it under the third and last stitch. I find this also helps make a clean color transition. And then finish out the row with the 4 navy blue. And this is what it looks like on the front side. Really nice, clean color transition. And on the back, you have a little bit of a yarn kind of going across. So we finished this row. I'm going to cross it off again just so it's easier to see where we are. And then you will chain 1 and turn your work. Make your 4 half double crochets. Changing color. And as you can see on this row, we have another row of like the bar of the H that goes all the way across. So don't carry the navy blue under the first stitch. And I'm not going to carry it under the second, but I will carry it under the third. And I won't take it under the next one or the next one, but I will carry it under the last one. So this is not really an exact science. It's just something that you'll figure out your preference for. You might prefer every other because then this thread is a little more contained, but I think this is what I've decided on for me works best. Then your 2 stitches in between the letters. Switch to new color. Carry the tail. And do your 4 half double crochets on the edge. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and finish up the graph, and then I'll show you how I weave in my ends. All right, I have finished my whole project and I'm going to show you how I weave in the ends. As you can see, there's a few of them, not too bad. I'm gonna start with some of these light blue ones because they're just easier to see. So I'm going to use my yarn needle, thread it, and when I weave in ends, I just try and go kind of back and forth as many ways as possible so that the thread doesn't pull out. It's already secured, but it's just kind of tucking the end in. So I like to start by kind of going across, just sort of sneaking into some of these stitches. You can already see that knot lies really nice and flat. And now I'm going to go back the other way on the row below. I'm gonna go in here, just kind of going into some of those spots. And then when we stretch it out, you can see this is not going to pull out. So I'm going to trim this right here. And there it is, nice and hidden. I'll show you that with one more of the ends. So this is already tied as well. It's just about kind of tucking it away. So I'm going to go this way first to the left. And then back over to the right. That's pretty secure, so I'm just going to trim the end off. And there it is. And that's it, it's all done.